Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are coming to you with a Toronto International Film Festival red carpet roast and review for the year 2022. I'm gonna be sad when it's 2023 and that doesn't really rhyme anymore. Without further ado, there were quite a few celebrities showing out to promote their movies. You had the best, the worst, the confusing, the uncertain, and then just the ones that existed. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Now first up we have Emma Corrin, and they are wearing Miu Miu. Now this is a custom look and it's pretty much a bodysuit dress, but it has sleeves and a train that is made up of silk organza. It's in all black. And it almost looks like a leotard, like something that a dancer would wear. Now, I know that Emma, I believe, was a dancer at some point, and if they weren't a dancer, they were a model, and maybe the dancing turned into modeling. I think, maybe, possibly, I'm unsure. There is a little stocking in a transparent black and a black sort of pump by Miu Miu as well. And in reality, like, I actually don't hate the look. I think it's really fun and really cool and really intriguing. I feel like we've been seeing a lot of Miu Miu that's very mini skirts, short. It has sort of a school uniform vibe to it. And the custom looks feel very sweet, pretty and cute, which is fine. That's Miu Miu. But I think that this look feels still somewhat that girliness that we kind of have come to expect. It's just grown up and a little bit more fitted, accentuating the body. Honestly, I love the bodysuit silhouette. It's definitely daring. It definitely is something that you really have to like dedicate yourself to, but I think that Emma looks fantastic in it. The sort of slight plunge is nice. The little sort of straps that go around the shoulder are a-okay, but those sleeves of black organza are gorgeous, the way that they sort of flow out and then turn into legitimately like a long train that sort of falls out as well. There are pictures of Emma moving and grooving in the streets of Toronto, and like they ate. They just know how to move in a garment, which I think also is very, very helpful. I think that comes from being a model. Emma was a model prior to being an actor. And so I think that they know how to handle a garment, how to make it move and how to make it work for them, how to, as they say, sell the garment. I think the garment is sold easily. It feels very revenge dressy. Emma's probably like, listen, I'm not on The Crown season 5, but I'm gonna let you know that if I had been, it wouldn't have been a problem. And yeah, I love the look. I think it's fantastic. I think they look great. Next up, we have Ethan Hawke, and he is wearing off-white. Now, this is a muted blue suit with a white shirt, simple pant, black shoe. At the top, shoulder, lapel, chest area, a crystallization of the look. It's great and it's fun and it's funky. And then as we reach sort of below the pectoral area, it starts to dissipate. It gets a lot less dense. It feels like we're going from like a solid to a liquid. Crystal sort of flowing all the way through the pants too, which I think is nice. It's a cool way to sort of continue what's going on up top, but not making the pants super duper, oh my god, I have to pay attention to that. No, we want to keep it sort of up top. I think that the crystals also like frame the fact that Ethan's face looks nice and enjoyable and happy-go-lucky. The shoes, I would have preferred a little bit better of a shoe from Off-White, just something a little bit more intriguing, a boot, a sneaker, something just to jazz it up a little bit. And also you have the white of the shirt with the black of the shoe, and it just doesn't really coincide super duper well. I appreciate that he took a sort of different stance on a traditional suit. I like it. It's fun, it's cool, it's not too out there. It keeps the sort of normal tailoring that you expect, but it adds a little bit of a jazzy experience to it. So I'm gonna take it. Next up, we have Evan Rachel Wood, and she is wearing Saint Laurent. Now, this is a look by Anthony Vaccarello. It's a sort of come-as-you-go, slinky black dress. Now, we can see that it is, I believe, from the fall 2022 collection. And how we can see that is if we zoom at a little bit of brightness, really get our eyes focused in there, you can see that there is a center element of the dress that is not at all ruched, but around that center shape, there's ruching all throughout. And that's what creates somewhat of a texture on this very slinky fitted black dress. It's not really anything, you know, to write home about, but I do think that it most definitely is an homage to Saint Laurent. We can see that there are looks and styles from that collection that do correlate. I think it's fine. I think slinky, sexy, black Anthony Vaccarello, it's kind of a shtick. I'm not gonna be super duper mad about it. It is paying homage to Saint Laurent. I'm fine with that. Next up, we have Gabrielle Union, and she is wearing Vivienne Westwood. Now, this is your usual Vivienne Westwood sort of bustier top. It's a little bit triangular, nipped sort of situation, as in, you know, it nips out and then kind of comes back down. And I don't mean nip as in a nipple, I mean nip as in, like, you know, you nip out for a spot of tea, you nip out for chocolate, you nip out for the Queen's funeral, you nip out. It has nothing to do with the nipple, it just so happens to cover the breast. We can see that there is a draped sort of silk element that goes in. There's a high sort of slit, it exposes the leg, but I think it's actually like a very nice place. Usually I'm not obsessed with the slit. Usually it's just kind of bleak and blah, and it just looks very rigid, and it looks like we just cut a hole and then we sort of, you know, hemmed it a little bit. But here we can see that there is a fold in the dress that actually does help to create the slit. And then the way that the slit falls, it falls really, really beautifully, instead of looking like the fabric was a sort of fitted sheath gown that they just sort of took a scissor up and said, we're gonna cut it. No, 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 rather it's actually intricately done in the way that that drape allows for the actual fabric to fall really, really beautifully, to have a texture and a swag to it that's not rigid and uncomfortable and weird. I also love the jewelry. I think it's fun. Vivienne Westwood, pearl choker. I think the dress is fine. Do I wish it was obviously a little bit more intriguing? Sure, absolutely, like I do with most things. Do I think that for what it is, it's nice, and from a technical standpoint, it's well done? Absolutely, I like it. Next up, we have Harry Styles. He is wearing Gucci. Now, he is wearing a double-breasted sort of, I would say like a forest green blazer. There is a large poof and plume of feathers that are jutting out, or at least they look like feathers. I think they actually might be some sort of flower. So maybe it's not feathers, it's a flower, because I can see the stamens jumping out of the different flowers. But that color green is, it's beautiful. Then we have another shade of green, more of like a pistachio, in a sort of wide leg pant with nice crease. And then he has a Gucci Jackie Bam bag, and it's in another shade of green. I would say maybe this is a little bit more of a green M&M kind of green, you know what I mean? Like a little bit seductive, a little bit sexy, a little bit out there, but like not too crazy. And then a sort of cream boot with heel. I like the look. I think it's intriguing. I think the fact that instead of a shirt, we went for this floral plumage going on. It's nice, it's fun. I think the playing off of the different kinds of shades of green also allows you to still do the suit, but make it a little bit more intriguing. Listen, men oftentimes are just gonna go for the suit, and so if that's the case, jazzing it up in little different ways is what we need, what we desire, what we deserve. Do I think it's the most revolutionary hairstyles look I've ever seen in my entire life? Absolutely not. But considering it's kind of just trying to do traditional tailoring, but make it interesting, I think that was achieved. Hats off to Harry Styles, hats off to Harry Lambert. I think it was done well. Next up, we have Janelle Monae, and she is wearing Iris van Herpen. Now, this is a dress from the fall 2022 Haute Couture collection, and it is called the Cosmogonic Myth. Now, it's made up of a sculptural transparent bodice, which is 3D printed with SLS technology, and then it's kind of like draped with sustainable off-white banana leaf fabric. You're welcome. The dress in and of itself, I think, is a great dress. I think that it sort of plays with Iris van Herpen's idea of organic matter, and also the way that it's draped, it sort of keeps an intriguing element and sort of play into what traditional clothing utilizes in order to make itself intriguing, which is draping and all of that. But it does it in a way that feels a little bit more stiff. The fact that it's also sort of 3D printed and has 3D printed sort of elements, but at the same time it uses this banana leaf nouveau fabric that is done in these over-the-top organic shapes that don't just sort of drape in the usual manner that we expect from draping. My one issue is we can see that there is a difference in the colors between the sheer that is the basis and foundation whole garment for the dress. It's kind of obvious, which does suck to a degree. I don't think that it ruins the dress. I just think that it takes us out of the fantasy, which is unenjoyable in my opinion. But I do think the fact that Janelle Monae goes for it all the time is always an A1 experience. I appreciate her. Overall, I love seeing an Iris van Herpen on the red carpet, and I'm grateful to Janelle for doing that for me, because I don't know if she was actually thinking about me, but if she was, thank you. If you weren't, thank you. Next up, we have Jennifer Lawrence, and she is wearing Dior. Now, this is an off-the-shoulder little organza pleated dress in a vertical sort of fashion, and then we can see at the waist there is some sort of netting that is kind of creating a waist to a degree. It's not a belt, so like, I'll take it from MGC at this point. Honestly, I don't think it's the worst dress that I've ever seen. Do I think that it's very sort of simple Dior by Maria Grazia? Yeah. Do I think that it should be a little bit more exciting? Yeah, but like, at this point, like, it is what it is. Yeah. Beggars can't be choosers. Jennifer Lawrence also is like a Dior woman. She's been a Dior woman for quite some time. I think that she looks nice. She looks pretty. I think the dress doesn't really like do too much, but I also don't think that it's like necessarily hideous. So that's good. I'm happy about that. I do think that that sort of netting element is really quite sweet and quite cool. I think the fact that it's just vertical pleating also makes my life a lot easier. Could be worse, which is good for Dior. So Thank you. Next up, we have Joe Alwyn, and he is wearing Celine. Now, this is a look, I believe, from the Spring 2023 menswear collection. It's a black simple suit in that Eddie Slimane cut. There's a front crease. It's a pinstripe experience. Now, there's a white shirt, black, white, skinny. He's wearing a little Chelsea boot sort of moment, which again, very Eddie Slimane, skinny suit sort of vibe. The one thing that I do really love is a little tie that looks like a string that just sort of falls all the way down. It's cute, it's fun, it's funky. Listen, like Eddie Slimane paved the way for like the skinny suit. He did. Like that's just his vibe. It's what he did. It's his silhouette. Am I gonna be mad about like somebody doing a Dior silhouette when they're the creative director of Dior? No. Am I gonna be mad about Eddie Slimane doing an Eddie Slimane silhouette when he's Eddie Slimane, even though it's at Celine? No, it's there, it exists, it's nice, it's fun, it's funky. Would I want to wear it? Sure, absolutely. And the tie, I think, is a fun way to sort of move forward. Even with Celine, we're doing little things to not just be boring ass suiting that nobody gives eef about. I'm gonna take it, Joe Alwyn. You know what I mean? Like Eddie has his vibe. It's like hot in a traditional actor sense. He's not really like a diverter from that. And like, if that's what he's gonna do, that's what he's gonna do. It's gonna be good menswear. I'll take it. Next up, we have Joe Jonas. He is wearing Louis Vuitton. Now, this is a shirtless black suit situation. It has a wide leg pant with some sort of split hem, a little square-toed boot, which I like, I appreciate, and a little crystal floral pin that holds everything together. I wish it was a little bit more intriguing, exciting, fun, and funky. Absolutely. Do I think Joe Jonas is really like gonna give that? No, not really. I know I literally just gassed up a black suit, but like, that black suit is a signature black suit of a designer. There's little elements to it that like make it something you don't see all the time. A little bit of like a black suit with a little bit of a wide leg pant. It's something you see kind of quite often. Next up, we have Kate Hudson, and she is wearing Carolina Herrera. Now, this is from the Spring 2023 collection. Now, Kate Hudson was like, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call Wes Gordon, my buddy, who's the creative director of Carolina Herrera, and she's like, I'm gonna wear something before it goes on the runway, which has kind of become not the norm, but like certainly not uncommon now. It feels like celebrities debut looks from runway shows before they happen, and like it's always intriguing to me because I'm like, oh, you're getting like a preview. Like, should I just put on my little Instagram post a picture of Kate Hudson instead of the runway look? Maybe. But it's pretty much a strapless red dress that has a floral sort of silk taffeta-y flourish that goes from the waist up the neckline and to a degree covers the shoulder. Now, the collection was based on Bunny Mellon, who was a socialite and aristocrat of New York and became a world-class, or at least world-recognized horticulturalist because of the certain projects that she did. She did the Rose Garden at the White House with Jackie Kennedy. So that's where we're getting that floral element from. Carolina Herrera as a brand, it's like very simple. It's very rich, ritzy woman who isn't trying to be super crazy, super out there. It's just like nice clothes. I think that's a lot of American elevated designers, it's just nice clothes. And I know people are like, well, who wears it? I've recently realized that like people wear it. They do, and they all know each other, and they all actually look pretty good in real life. So listen, do I think that a strapless red dress with some dartage that moves down the front is really that intriguing? No, I don't. Do I wish it was a little bit more exciting? Absolutely. Do I wish that Kate Hudson went for like one of the crazy floral styles from that collection? Yeah. Do I think it's a horrible dress? No. Do I think it's an intriguing dress? No. That's that. On that. I wish it was a little bit better, I do. Next up, we have Lashana Lynch, and she is wearing Prada. Now, I believe this is a custom look because I've never seen a Prada dress this simple on the runway. So it's an off-the-shoulder dress, off-the-shoulder, but it pretty much has a strap band that wraps around the sort of shoulder area, and then sort of we can see it's strapless in pink. It's fitted, falls, and it hits the floor. The way that that was measured, like that thing just hits the floor and it's like it's floating. But just by like a millimeter, it's floating. Like it does not touch the floor, it does not pool, it just floats there. That is beautiful. That is fantastic tailoring. That is fitted. That is what all custom should look like. I do love the way that the bust area comes in. It does feel very natural, but it also feels accentuated and beautiful. I like the fact that it creates a sort of shadow because of the bust. I feel like it just like they sit there really beautifully and really, really nicely. I'm not trying to be inappropriate. I'm just saying, I think that that area feels really, really, again, well constructed. The waist, I wish it was a little bit more intriguing, a little bit more something, you know, it fits fine. It's not fitted as in like corseted and sort of sucks in and does a little wasp waist, which also is like not really a Prada thing, so I'm not gonna be super angry about it, but maybe it's the angle or whatever. It just doesn't feel crazy hourglass, but I don't think it's really meant to be. I'm finding my notions of body proportions. It happens to the best of us. I think that it fits her beautifully. I really do. Like, I really think that it's a well-constructed, simple dress, but it's a well-constructed dress. And that's the thing. If you're gonna do simple, it has to be almost perfect. And I think that she looks perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you, Lashana Lynch and Prada. Next up, we have Leslie Odom Jr., and he is wearing Kenzo. Now, this is by the designer Nigo, and Nigo has sort of come into the world of Kenzo Takata and upped it, given a little bit more of like a Japanese flair, which I think is fun and cool. It's a brand that was done by a Japanese man that was based in Paris, or at least they moved it over from Japan to Paris in like early sort of stage. But anyway, what we see here is a pinstripe suit. It's not a is that a jumpsuit? No, it's not a jumpsuit. There's buttons, there's a jacket. We can see the jacket. But the way that the pinstripe just sort of like perfectly falls in with the pants is amazing. Again, that's good tailoring. That's how you know, like, you want your pinstripes to fall really, really beautifully and to really sort of accentuate. And then there's like a little sort of chambray-ish jacket that's placed over top. It's cropped, it's intriguing, it's almost like an overcoat. I'm wondering if what Nigo was sort of going for is sort of playing on the idea of traditional Japanese sort of clothing and creating that element, but doing it in a sort of Western tailored style. Because if so, that's great. I like the white shirt. I like the pinstripe tie. Do I wish we'd maybe gotten a little beret for Leslie? Absolutely. But like, I'll take it for what it is. The shoe, I don't love. It looks different than the patent leather shoe that we saw on the runway. So I wish that we had like had some sort of continuity there. But like, I'm not gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think that the suit looks great. I love the fact that it's a different sort of take on a three-piece suit. I'm happy with it. I enjoy it. I like seeing Kenzo on a red carpet. So thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Nigo. Next up, we have Lily James. She is wearing Victoria Beckham. Now, this is a coat, a blazer dress with a large pussy bow blouse sort of flowing out of it and a thigh-high boot in black, all in black. I just don't think that the blazer dress fits well from at least the angle I'm seeing. Like, the sleeves look big and baggy and looks like they were not tailored. Maybe they're meant to look like that, but I don't think they're meant to look like that. And then on top of that, the way that the blazer sort of nips in at the waist feels strange to me. It does. I don't know what it is, but it looks like there's a lot of excess fabric moving and grooving. And the thing is, like, it shouldn't do that. If you're gonna make something that's tailored, turn it into a dress, it should still reflect good tailoring, even though it's a dress. So just because you're sort of nipping it in at the waist does not mean that it should be crinkled and wrinkled and there should be excess fabric flapping out over the sides. It's just, that's not how that's supposed to work. I love the pussy bow blouse. I think that's fun. I think that's cool. I think that's intriguing. I think that's exciting. The boots, a little bit uninteresting. I also think the height of the boots probably doesn't really help with the proportions of the dress, because the dress goes down to the top of the thigh. I appreciate what we were going for, but we just didn't get there at all. We got lost very early on, and it seems like there was no way of getting there on time. Even though we're there, we're not there. Bring back Lily James and Versace. That shit hits every time. Next up, we have Lucy Boynton, and she is wearing Chanel. I believe this is a custom look. It is in a seafoam green. It's a sheer, it looks like romper that has a overlay that is chiffon that sort of creates a front sort of gown, and then there is excess chiffon that sort of juts out at the sides and creates a long sort of train. The top is full of feathers, and then there's sort of an encrustment of crystals. A little birdie told me that Chanel actually now has a red carpet designer. And I think that that's very evident, and I think that's nice to see. I think there are elements of it that feel Chanel-esque. The feathers feel Chanel-y. I want to see a little bit more reference to styles of the past, and I'm sure maybe this is, but like, not enough for me. Seafoam green is a great color. I just don't know if it's Lucy Boynton's great color. The train I do like. I think the side pleats are beautiful. I think they're gorgeous. Personally, I just think there's a lot going on. Feathers, crystals, rompers, trains, chiffons, pleating. There's a lot here. So I think learning to edit would be great. Next up, we have Madeline Brewer, and she is wearing Corrin. Now, this is a look from the fall 2022 collection by Nicolas de Felice, and we don't really get to see a lot of Corrin on the red carpet, so like when we do, I'm very happy to. It's pretty much a leather bandeau, but it's faux leather. It's a sort of plasticized leather that Corrin has sort of been working on for quite some time, and Nicolas has very much so sort of perfected it. It's also very much so what the iconic Corrin styles usually are in, so it's nice to see. Usually they're in geometric shapes of A-lines and mini skirts and all that, but to see it in something that's a little more fitted and tight and rigid is cool and intriguing. There also seems to be straps that again sort of create a geometry to it, the way that the straps sort of create a triangular element around, you know, the body and the torso, and then creates a triangular element coming down to sort of see the hips and the waist and all of that jazz. I think it's intriguing. Do I think that it's perfect? No. Do I think it needs a little bit of time to fixate and work and move and groove? Absolutely. But do I think Madeline Brewer deserves an absolute 100% A for effort in terms of going for something a little bit more out there and a little bit more avant-garde? Yeah, I do, and I'll give her that. I also think the pants, beautiful. Love a Corrin pant. We can see the AC little logo insignia. It's great. It's lovely. It's cute. It's chic. It's fun. Listen, she's not wearing the baseball hat from the runway too, so like shout out to you. Do I think that there needs to be a little bit more work on the red carpet stuff for Corrin? Sure. And I want to see more cool, crazy, kooky Corrin going on in the future. Next up, we have Maitreyi Ramakrishnan, and she is wearing Jason Wu. It's a marigold strapless dress in a hourglassy figure. There is a front drape that is bad, uncomfortable, strange, weird looking. It looks like a leggy drape. It just looks like it's trying to get away from whatever's going on in this area, and that's unfortunate. It's just a bright color, and I guess it has pockets. It just feels like that extra sort of flounce at the end. It's like, why does it create extra volume that feels uncomfortable? Why can I like just see that seam where the waist is and the skirt begins? It's just like, there's a lot of things that just don't feel right about it. Maitreyi has been honestly turning it out, so I don't know why we chose this. Not the choice. No. Next up, we have Margaret Qualey, and she is wearing Chanel. Now, this is from the Haute Couture Fall 2022 collection. It is a light pink strapped bustier that has a little overflow, very sort of 1920s, early 1930s Chanel reference. That's just really how a lot of those Chanel dresses sort of fitted in that very, very early period of the brand. They just sort of flopped over and created flounce and excess fabric. I don't love it, but like that's what it was. It's hard to be mad at a house code, even though I want to be. And then it just magically sort of turns into a silk tulle and taffeta-y skirt that's big, it's long, it's bold. It's just not great though. And also the shoe, again, I understand like it's a Chanel sort of style in 20s and 30s where like it's just ugly, so you know, I get it, I understand it, I just like wish I didn't have to look at it. That's how I feel. It wasn't a great look on the runway, it's not a great look here. Sucks. The thing is, there's just like the pink top with the flounce and then the big ball gown black skirt. Like they don't coincide, but they're sewn together. I don't understand that element of it either. It's just, it's not a great match. It's more of a clash. Next up, we have Oprah, and she is wearing, I believe, custom Brandon Maxwell. And this one really hurts my soul because I love Oprah, and Brandon Maxwell has really grown on me. It's just bad. Like I cannot say anything else. It's just a bad look. I presume that Oprah, you know, had this custom made, and I just don't know why it looks like that. It's a silver sequin shirt dress that falls and hits the floor, but like look at the way that it hits the floor. It's bad. It doesn't fit good. It's not, no. It's, there's like a little slit in the front. It just makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. The sequins are just sort of banal and uninteresting. I think the silhouette for Oprah is also like not the way to go. I'm not saying that Oprah can't wear form-fitting, like she can do whatever she wants, but I think the thing is Brandon Maxwell knows how to construct actually genuinely a beautiful silhouette, and I think in recent collections he's really, really proven that he knows how to do it. So I don't know where this choice came in to do this style, but it was a bad one on whoever sort of chose it. I just think that this full shirt is not the look for Oprah whatsoever, and then doing it in like a bright over-the-top sequin full sequin is also like uncomfortable. I never want to see this cursed image again. Next up we have Sadie Sink. She's wearing Stella McCartney. It's blah. It's a symmetrical red gown with an exposure of the waist. There's a little sort of bralette underneath. Floor length, it's fine. Listen, I get it. Stella McCartney, simple, sustainable. I just don't think the fit is like miraculous, and that's my issue. Again, like we've seen in this video specifically, so many good examples of like really simple, but done so well. And the thing is, if you are going to do so simple, do it so well, or don't do it at all. You know, I appreciate this cutout and I appreciate the bra and I think it's fun and it's cool for Sadie. I just don't think that it's like a great, memorable, intriguing look that I want to look back upon over time. I would rather forget that it exists. Next up we have Seth Rogen. He is wearing Dior. Now this is from the fall 2022 menswear collection. I love it. I'm a stan. I'm obsessed. Listen, if you look at the silhouette of that blazer, it has the very 1940s new look feel to it. And the great thing about Kim Jones in this collection, which I think this is probably, in my opinion, his best Dior collection yet, we can see that those stitches, or if they're beads of some sort of come down and they accentuate the waist. They create a sort of 1947 new look aesthetic, but in a menswear sort of tailored way. And then we can see that the actual blazer, this double-breasted element, it flares out and it creates that sort of bell shape of the 1947 new look silhouette too, which I think is fantastic. The wide leg pant I think is also cool. I think it makes sense. Again, because of how big and sort of silhouette of that blazer is, those wide leg pants, they work. They don't feel like it's a frumpy dumpy on. I think the little shirt underneath in that toile de juif sort of fabric is great. Again, very Dior, very French. I'm obsessed with the cut of that blazer. It is superb. Seth Rogen, hats off to you. I've never seen you dress like this, and I hope that this is where we keep going from here because I'm obsessed. I just think this is amazing, and I love that he took the risk, and I think it's a great example to like all of the other men, Adam Sandler. You don't have to wear goddamn shorts, and it's not acceptable anymore. Like, you can serve a look. It's expected now, so prepare yourselves, because you're on notice. Seth Rogen proved it. Get with the program. I don't want to see any more of your manly man, I don't care about fashion bullshit. Well, guess what we do? You look like a flop. So, but to end that, Seth Rogen, you're a star. I'm obsessed with you. Thank you. Have a great day. Next up, we have Sheila Tim, and she is wearing custom Odom, I believe. I think that this is a look based on fall 2022, but I'm not sure. It is a crop top sort of gown style. We can see that there is a silk sort of crop top that is encrusted with large and small little crystals all along the off-the-shoulder element of the actual bust, and then sort of at the hem of the crop top. The straps, I get it. I don't love them. I think they're a little bit too heavy-handed. I wish that we had just had one, or we had had just the ones sort of on the shoulders, or the halter sort of style, but I don't think we needed both. I think it clunks up that too much. As for the actual skirt, it is full of black sequins, and then we have a continuation of the little sort of crystallization going along the hem of the crop top that runs vertically down the actual gown and all the way, you know, through this big, long, beautiful train. Panels that are sequined, there are panels that are not, which I think also sort of gives you a little bit of texture, a little bit of movement there too, and plays into the fact that the actual crop top is not sequined in the way that the skirt is. And we have little elements of the floral crystals that jut in and dance around the top sort of skirt, not at the tippity top at the waist, but rather just like right below the waist sort of area, which I think again plays back into large embellishments that is going on in the crop top. I like it. I think it looks great. I think it looks fun. I feel like we don't get enough Odom red carpet moments, and I feel like Odom is a great red carpet designer, even when he's not like doing red carpet. He's just doing good red carpet shit that should be on the red carpet. It just very rarely does. So shout out to Sheila. She looks great. She looks fantastic. I love the sort of black on her. I think it looks stunning. It's a lot of look, but I think that she pulls it off well. Most definitely. Next up, we have Sophie Okonedo, and she is wearing Bottega Veneta. Now, this is a look, I believe, that is full leather. I believe that this tank top, which is meant to look like a ribbed tank top, or a wife pleaser, as some may say, but it's actually made out of leather, because Bottega Veneta is a leather house. Mathieu Blasi has sort of done a style like this on the runway. I believe this actually is like a style from the runway. but it was done with a pair of jeans that are actually not jeans, not denim. They're actually leather. They just look like jeans. So the thing that I love is the fact that this tank top is meant to look like a tank top, but it's really a leather tank top, which we stand. And then it's tucked into a purple leather midi skirt that has a high-low flouncy element, which again, leather is not a fabric that really has that draped texture, the way that it flows and is wavy, but again, it's a leather house. The innovation with leather is important, so I like that Mathieu Blasi has done that. But we can see that there is a purple sort of leather fringe that runs underneath it and creates this really beautiful movement, as well as a little Bottega woven shoe and a little Bottega Intreccio weave handbag. Honestly, I love it. I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I think it's funky. The white playing off of everything and letting the purple, beautiful skirt that is very intricate and also very expensive at $30K be the main focus. Strong styling, very well done. Shout out to Sophie. She looks amazing. Shout out to Bottega. Shout out to Mathieu Blasi. It looks amazing. We knew what we were doing and it's done well. Next up we have Taylor Swift wearing Louis Vuitton. It's custom. It's just, I don't love it. It's pretty much a fitted gown in a gold that is full of paillettes that are sewn on in a crisscross manner. That's what's kind of holding them there. The straps are made up of sort of circular crystals, I'm gonna say, that sort of create like a swagged element, a little bit of an off-the-shoulder detail, and just the straps in general. I don't really think there's too much going on in terms of likeness besides like being yellow and also circular from the strap crystals and the actual paillettes on the dress. I also just think the paillettes on the dress are a little bit uncomfortable. They feel a little bit tackle. I don't love them. This is kind of like the worst Taylor Swift moment we've had recently. I'm not really enjoying that. I want better for her. I just think there should be like more effort put into this because it just doesn't feel very LV, nor does it feel very Taylor Swift. I think it should have been like inspired by a little bit more runway moments that we've had recently from Nicolas Ghesquière. I do, genuinely. The fit is like fine, but I don't think it's a good look. I just don't think it makes sense whatsoever. Like the context is just very lost in a bunch of different places, and then the dress in and of itself is just existing. Next up we have Tilda Swinton wearing Chanel. Very simple Tilda, you know, she's not doing kooky crazy. She's wearing a little black turtleneck silk blouse, and then it has a, I would say like a bibby panel that runs down it. We have a slack in black, a black slack. I think it's very Chanel, a la the French Riviera, wearing pants, doing her thing in pants because she liked pants and she was not afraid to wear pants. Do I wish it was a little bit more exciting from Tilda? Absolutely, but like, who am I? She's earned the place. I'm fine. This feels very Chanel reference to me and I'm okay with that. And finally, we have Viola Davis wearing Greta Constantine, which is a brand that she honestly goes for quite a lot. We can see that the off-the-shoulder bustier is made of an orange sort of fabric flower that has been attached to a simple band of orange fabric, and it creates that off-the-shoulder covering the bicep effect. And then from that, we can see a bright neon pink skirt flows out of it. Do I wish it was a little bit more thought out? Yeah. Do I think that the colors look great on her? Absolutely. Do I wish that there was a little bit more of an element of floral going on in the skirt maybe to like play into what's going on up top? Yeah, I guess, but I think that yes, it's colorful and there's texture and there's floral moments, but I don't think that it's like, wow, I think it's just there. And that makes me upset because I love Viola Davis and like I want her to like be dressed by literally everybody and anybody, and I want her to like serve looks, and I feel like it's very rare and that sucks and it makes me really angry. That is the end of today's video though. Let's talk about some of the best and worst looks. I would say best: Emma Corrin, Lashana Lynch, Sophie Okonedo, Leslie Odom, Joe Alwyn, Harry Styles for the men, and of course, Seth Rogen. Still obsessed. I think Seth took the cake today. I think Seth is like best dressed. Everybody else is pretty like honorable mention, but Seth ate it up. Left no crumbs. As for the worst dressed, I'm gonna put Oprah on there, because that was tough. Taylor Swift on there, also tough. Betrayee, tough. Lily James, tough. I'd love to know what you guys think of all the looks from TIFF 2022. Please let me know. I will see you guys on the next video, and TTY.